Is it Avengers 2.5? Basically. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my basement. So today we're going to be talking about the film Captain America Civil War. This is easily one of my most highly anticipated films of the year, and now I've seen it as seemingly one of the last people to see it, as odd as that is. Now I'm going to review it. Film stars Chris Evans as Captain America. Once again, this is the third film in his trilogy. We have Robert Downey Jr. and basically all the Avengers back for this film. It's called Civil War. They're split up over two sides over an issue, and fights happen. Basically, as a result of the conflicts that we've seen in Avengers 1, Winter Soldier, and Age of Ultron, there have been numerous casualties and people who have been killed as a result of these fights. The only things that we saw on the screen were our main heroes. We see them doing heroic things and taking down people while the city is being destroyed and lives are being lost. And this movie is basically the consequences of those fights and those actions. There's a document drawn up called the Sokovia Accords. Sokovia is the name of the place which was blown up at the end of Age of Ultron. Basically, the United Nations wants to have a council who decides when the Avengers go and do things. And we have Robert Downey Jr. on the side for that, and then Captain America on the side against it. And we see other people go to their sides, and we have our movie. And one thing that I really did appreciate about this movie is that we see the reasons for both sides of this issue. We see why Captain America is so intent on being against these accords, because he doesn't want to not be able to go and be in a good situation, or at least help a bad situation, if he thinks that that's something that needs to happen, or go and do something that he doesn't feel is right. On the other side, we have Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. He is very much for this because he basically has been the cause of a lot of catastrophes which have happened, namely Ultron. And at the beginning of the movie, we see kind of those consequences come back face first for him, and that is very much a motivator for him being for this. And you see different Avengers kind of deciding for various reasons, and the film did a very good job at showing just kind of why they're going for what side that they go for, and I really did like that. Now, in the typical Avengers sense, this film does have its humor. It's not DC. It doesn't have just dry nothingness the whole time. It has humor, and it's the most subtle humor sometimes, and it's so good. There are numerous times where the theater was just laughing, and part of that was Tom Holland as Spider-Man. He does fantastic. If you've heard rumors of him just being one of the best parts of this movie, it is true. He captures the idea of this really awkward teenage Peter Parker exceptionally well, and the first scene that he's introduced in is just one of the best parts of the movie, as well as where he comes in for the airport scene. This is the big culmination battle that we see in the trailer, basically every trailer for this movie, where we have all of our heroes fighting each other, and this is done so well. It's not just like a 3-minute skirmish and then it's done. It is drawn out very longly, and the one thing that I really did like is that the kind of minor heroes like Ant-Man, Spider-Man, who we've never seen before, they have big roles in this film and in this fight in particular. And I really like seeing the fact that basically every hero got to show off what they're able to do and basically be a big part of this fight as a result. And seeing the reactions of like Captain America and Iron Man to these newer additions is just kind of funny because they didn't really know what to expect. Especially with Ant-Man, he did something quite interesting, which I didn't expect to see either. It also brings me to one of the best parts of the movie is the action in this movie. Basically every action scene is just so well choreographed, so fun to watch, that I just could not look away. The airport scene is one of the standout moments, as well as the final battle where we have basically Captain America versus Iron Man, and seeing this conflict happen and eventually seeing who the winner is. It's a very tough scene to watch a lot of times because these are two heroes which are fighting knowing that they have this history, but they're fighting for two different reasons, and it's a really tough thing to watch. Black Panther, also in this movie, he does a very good job, I thought. It was basically his introduction as a character. Again, not someone that we've seen before in the MCU. He also has a kind of a standout scene in the airport fight scene. And he's in this film a lot more than I was honestly expecting him to be. The film focuses a lot on his character to an extent because of something which happens at the very beginning of the movie. And I liked seeing that because it kind of set the stage for the Black Panther movie, which we're going to get, I believe, next year sometime. And yeah, made me very excited for it, especially with how this film ended. It makes me excited to see what that film will actually consist of, if it'll be more of an origin story, or if it's just going to pick up right where this film left off. But as this is a Captain America movie, technically, it does have a stronger focus on Captain America and his team more than any other. They are painted as the good guys, ultimately, in this film. His team, the people who side with him, and the people that side with Iron Man are painted as kind of the bad guys to an extent. No one in this movie is ultimately bad or good, because they are all fighting for what they believe in. And you see, basically, like I said earlier, both sides of this conflict, and it's a really tough thing to watch sometimes. But it's just done very, very well in focusing on the idea that, oh hey, Captain America, he's doing this thing which he ultimately believes in, and which we as an audience know, at least how it's presented, is the better of the two sides. And so it's interesting to watch that. And the last thing, everything really ties together really well in this movie, because there's something which happens at the very beginning of the movie, which is kind of hinted at throughout it, and then just the reveal at the end, which is very, very neat. And it was something which ultimately splits this team up more than ever before. And I was very surprised. I loved how well they tied everything together. I love it when movies do that, where they just throw these little hints here or there, and then they bring everything together at the very end. Love seeing that. Because I don't want to touch on everybody, I will say this: all the Avengers, every actor did fantastic in this movie. I love the special effects with Scarlet Witch and Vision. I love seeing all these relationships start to develop more and more among these characters, starting to reflect more of the comics in some instances, and I'm excited to see where this universe goes, because we're not going to meet these characters again, presumably, until, I think, Spider-Man Homecoming, which comes out summer next year. Because we have Doctor Strange next, and we have Guardians 2 coming out next May. And that's all we get until Spider-Man. It'll be kind of interesting to see what kind of consequences we see result in those films, if they comment on Civil War at all, or if they just kind of go about as their own stories and don't really do anything. I only have really two issues with this film, and it's really very small. I had to think of something to come up with, honestly. It was kind of tough. The only thing that I could really think of is that it starts off a little bit slow. I did find myself a little bored at the very beginning, just slightly, until it kind of built up into this bigger conflict. Also, I would kind of like them to at least put some sort of reference to the other Marvel properties at some point. I'm a little bit behind on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so if they did that, I completely missed it. But I like to see them at least use the word Inhuman for once, because that's such a big part of that show now. And you'd think that they would, at least somebody would comment, oh hey, yeah, there's these superhuman people running around too. There's that. Or like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. Have some sort of mention of these guys, or else they'd really just feel like they're on their own world and they don't have any real consequence to the bigger Marvel picture. I'm sure that they'll see them, hopefully, in Infinity War to some degree, but I want to see them at least get some sort of credit for what they are doing in the Netflix and ABC shows. It would just be something nice to see. So guys, those are my thoughts on Captain America Civil War. I love this movie. It's probably one of my favorite Marvel films at this moment. It's probably one of my favorite films of the year right now, and I highly recommend checking it out if you have not yet already. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, fair, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, my people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.